she really say that? Real talk with female entrepreneurs and a few good men that will shock and surprise you. Hi, my name is Heidi Muma.
And I'm Chef Katrina, and we co-host this amazing podcast where we are interviewing women and, like you said, a few men around the world of entrepreneurship, but mainly women, because women really have something to say, and I think it needs to finally be heard, especially when it comes to the world of business. So thanks for tuning in and listening in to our podcast.
Did she really say that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to welcome to the stage Amanda Taylor. We are going to have a fabulous conversation around money, women. Like, this is super important because we're going to be talking about the female brain and alternative investments. Like, you may not know this, but there's a correlation. So you are going to have your natural edge in the world of finances. So we're going to break myths. We're going to tear down what you believe are truths, and we're going to rewire you in the next 30 minutes or so in this call with Amanda. So, Amanda, thank you so much for being so brave, first and foremost, to take the stage and have this conversation and really the impact, because this is a super important conversation and it needs to be had. We need to start talking money as women. So, my first question for you is, tell me how this all got started.
Yeah, I accidentally fell into real estate investing in 2017. That's another story, but that's a male-dominated industry, right?
Yep.
So I got on there as someone's assistant. I learned everything I could. I was managing their projects. I was doing everything. And I'm like, I'm making millions for these people. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to start my own company. So I did. And I started building my own rental portfolio, doing my own fix and flip projects, lending, learning everything I could. And as an entrepreneur, you know this, I don't have a 401k. No employer is contributing to my retirement plan. I'm a proud Gen Xer. I'm not going to have Social Security.
Wearing a Def Leppard shirt. It's like, she's like, yeah. Yes.
I'm not going to have Social Security when I get there, right? No one is coming to save us. And then my 22-year marriage ended, and he had a W-2 job and a retirement plan, and I didn't. And I didn't realize how much that was just there, and I just assumed that would be there. And now I'm on my own. I own a company. I'm doing well, but am I set up for wealth building? Am I set up for my life or just running a business, right? So that was like step one of, I have to learn how to do this outside of these traditional vehicles, the S&P 500, a 401k. And so, I took steps to learn. Like, I got a end of year savings account statement, had 6 figures in a Chase Bank savings account. And I saw the interest income on there. And it was literally like a infomercial. I'm like, there has got to be a better way. And when it hit me, I'm like, I am losing money having this sit here. So, ex-husband, very risk averse, did not like the idea of even the real estate investing that I was doing. So I was like, I have an opportunity here. I'm going to learn as much as I can. I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm going to find out, all the pieces, what aligns with my values, my level of risk tolerance. And the more I learned, the more I realized nobody ever taught us this stuff. And women are very underserved. Entrepreneurs are underserved in learning all the opportunity that we have. We're growing our business over here and we're paying all this attention, but how are we setting ourselves up for our future, for our family's future, all of it? So it became my mission to educate and empower women. Let's close that financial literacy gap. Let's build that confidence, and let's learn all the opportunity we have to grow that wealth. And I haven't stopped running my mouth since.
And I'm so grateful for that, because honestly, this has been one of my big pet peeves, to be honest. I have worked with thousands of women over the last 15 years. I've worked with some very highly successful 6- and 7-figure income earners, only to have something happen in their life. Everything shifted, the income was gone, and now they're starting over from scratch. So they had it, and then they weren't taught how to invest it. They weren't taught how to keep it moving. Like, money moves, it's energy. It should be growing. It should be moving. And if you let it stay stagnant, as if it's going to be that your work is going to constantly replenish this, you're going to burn out and you're not going to be able to sustain.
Right. And if you think your business, as good as it is going to be your retirement and your exit, more power to you. But the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. I'm not going to run 7 businesses.
Right.
So how are we, yes, we're earning money in our business, but how are we making money while we sleep? And that is through investing.
So what kind of investing vehicles are available? Because I know so many women that they're starting over again, or they're climbing that financial ladder again, and they're trying to do it in a more productive, less overwhelming way. So now we're getting there. They're getting to 6 figures, they're getting to 7 figures, and they are looking at their lives going, okay, I can't do this every single day. So let's talk investment strategies.
Right. And like I said, I started in real estate. So that was the one I knew. And
Okay.
it took me a while to realize I'm like, oh, I can do this. You could do this. You can actually make money doing this. This is awesome. And then when I, transitioned and like, I got to build retirement, after I got that savings account statement, I realized, okay, wait, I don't like this. And I learned about whole life insurance
Yes.
and
Okay. We
infinite
have to have this
banking.
conversation because I have had so many people in the insurance industry tell me whole life is terrible. It's a scam. I kid you not, like I've heard the good, and then I hear the 90% of the population that says it's the worst thing you can do.
Do you know why the 1% uses it? And who that 1% is? The wealthiest people in the world.
Okay. So
And yes, when I first learned about it, I went and did my due diligence. We'll talk about that later as women. And I learned everything I could about it because I had a friend who sold policies and he was telling me how great this is. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go figure this out. And it made so much sense to me because, yes, you are buying life insurance, but let's look at it the other way. Term life insurance. I'm paying however much a month for 20 years for nothing.
yep.
To me, that's flushing money down the toilet, literally. So I think term life is ridiculous, but whole life,
Well, but it's the money maker for the insurance person, right? So
right?
it's their money maker, but it doesn't benefit you.
The term life,
Yeah.
not while you're alive.
Yeah.
Whole life I can use while I'm alive.
Whole life.
Whole life I can use it while I'm alive. It is consistently growing and compounding interest. So it's kind of like a savings account with a death benefit. So not only are my family and my assets protected, this is consistently growing. And you can borrow against you, be your own bank is what they call it. Infinite banking, be your own bank, cash value, whole life. You're going to find with anything in the world, anything I say, you say, someone else here says, you're going to find proponents and people who are totally against it. That's fine. You do what works for you. And that's a huge, thing within my community that I preach is it depends. You got to do what works with you, what you feel comfortable with, what aligns with your values. I researched it. I knew what I was doing and how I would use it and was very comfortable with the way it was set up because a lot of people set them up improperly. So you have to know, how it needs to be set up so that it can benefit you the most. If you're, the life insurance is a byproduct. It's got to be set up for growth and wealth building, and you can use it whenever you want while it's still growing interest. If I pull money out of my savings account, I'm no longer earning interest on that money while I'm using it. Not so with this insurance policy. It's still going. Even if I have money pulled out that I am using for other investments, I use it to rehab my fix and flip projects. So I'm investing in real estate with this money that's over here growing. That was step 1 for me. So I'll say real estate, whole life insurance, precious metals. That is secured by a piece of gold or silver. You've got digital assets, which a lot of people are, uncomfortable with, but I say education and intimidation have an inverse relationship. Don't get scared of something until you've learned about it, and then you can say yes or no. So digital assets is one. I said precious metals. You have secured banknotes. You can invest in bank debt, which is very interesting. You've got losing my train of thought here. Real estate investing in and of itself. You don't have to throw a sledgehammer and knock down cabinets to be a real estate investor, although that is the fun part. You can be a lender. You can have fractional ownership of real estate where you don't do anything and you just get the income. So many ways that you can invest in that. And even as small as like your spare change, you can invest in small things. Venture capital is a big one for me. I saw a documentary called Show Her the Money. Less than 2% of female or venture capital goes to female-owned businesses. This is twofold and was a big jump in getting me to start this side of my business. We need to be as investors, pushing our money into these businesses to help them grow and succeed. And B, as female-owned businesses, we need to be educated on how to present to these funds so that we can get the funding we need to grow and launch our business, right? So that's two ways. And I mean, that's a win-win for women, right? Let's get in a female-funded, female-focused venture capital opportunity. You're helping women, you're making money doing it. What could be better, right? Private equity is a big one. I advocate for the strategic buying and exiting of businesses. Small businesses. We are at a prime opportunity with baby boomers exiting out of their businesses. Their kids don't want it. They're like, what do I do? We can get these, Cody Sanchez is a great advocate for this. So she says, buy boring businesses, because you can go in there and you can change everything with technology. You can upgrade systems, and man, you're going to increase that cash flow, and then you can exit that business and make a ton of money. And it takes a little bit of knowledge. And the thing is, people will tell you with some of the bigger stuff, oh, you have to be an accredited investor. What that means is you have to have like $1 million outside of your personal residence. You have to have made certain six-figure number for the last 2 years by yourself, and then another member if you have a spouse. Not everybody can do that. And so what else do we do? Like, if I'm not accredited, what can I do? You can do all of these things. And I say fractional because they put together these pools of investors and you just get a piece of the pie. You're not having to leverage your entire portfolio into one thing. You get a piece. And so if you can just learn what you like, learn what you feel comfortable with, what kind of liquidity do you need? What kind of risk are you comfortable with? How long do you have before you get to that plan of exits to play with some stuff? So it's just a huge opportunity. And it's why, I tell everybody, like, let's learn everything. Let's start at the bottom.
Right.
Let's talk about, when we talk about confidence, I mean, do people know what liquidity, arbitrage, leverage, return? Do we know the vocabulary? Let's not get shut down immediately because I don't even know what she's talking about. Let's learn. I don't have an MBA in finance. I dropped finance in college because I didn't get it. So I'm a real person. I got into a place where like, I got to figure this out. And I learned it in a way that I'm like, oh, this makes sense. And as Michael Scott says in one episode, he's like, explain it to me like I'm 5. And I feel really comfortable doing that because, we got to start somewhere. And then we take baby steps and we grow that confidence. And like the Acorn app, you can invest your spare change. It's just a way to start, to dip your toe in the water and go from there.
I love this conversation because I think this is that open door. And there are so many women that are afraid to have these conversations around money, what it does for us, how we can use it, because it always seems to have been up until a point that it was always in the men's hands. It was the good old boy club, right?
That's my other thing, societally. I mean, 1974, a woman couldn't open a credit card or bank account without a man's permission. We are not that far removed. It is ingrained in us to defer those decisions to the man. I'll admit I did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, I don't care. Do whatever you want. And when I realized, and I think, when we talk about the female brain, okay,
Yes.
let's get to that. Especially in midlife, our body's going through all kinds of stuff, but our brain is too. More women go into entrepreneurship around that time, around that change. The average entrepreneur, I think, goes into it at 42. There's things happening in our brain and in our soul where we are really coming into who we are, recognizing our own internal drive and confidence and being like, wait a minute, I've been quiet. I've been putting up with this. I've been doing that. I can do something else. So that's the kind of inside thing, but I'm talking about the wiring. Something shifts.
So what is this amazing shift that Amanda is talking about? Well, you don't want to miss what she's about to say next. This is the real juiciness, the real difference of what it looks like to be building financial wealth as a woman. This is an incredible conversation that I want you to keep hearing. To get access to this, head over to the Breakthrough Create Her Business Summit, where not only can you hear Amy, but other women who are breaking barriers and giving you real life experiences and skills and techniques and playbooks that you can implement today to start growing and scaling your business the female way. If you love this conversation with Amanda, you're absolutely gonna love every other conversation that takes place during this summit. So grab your spot now. The link's going to be down in the show notes below. You absolutely want to be attending for this. If you have any questions, please let me know. But honestly, this Breakthrough Create Her Summit, this conversation specifically, we brought on Amanda because we knew the power of creative financial investing. And what she shares next will truly blow your mind. I can't wait to have you listen in and hear what she's got to say. This has been Did She Really Say That? My name is Chef Katrina, and I look forward to seeing you at the summit.